Good afternoon. It's 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday, December 19th, 2023. We will call the City Council meeting of the City of New Ulm to order. Item number 1, consent agenda. Councilors,
I'll offer a motion to approve those.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 2.1 is a public hearing on the final plot of the Alliance Bank First Edition. Mr. Schnobrick.
Dave Schnobrick, Community Development Director. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the final plat at their November 30th, 2023 meeting. The applicant in this particular case is Alliance Bank. The current legal description of the property is lots 8 through 14, block 62 north of Center Street. So this is a half block of property that we're talking about. The street address of the property is 314 to 340 North Minnesota Street. I might note that the final plat is the same as the preliminary plat that you previously approved. The property currently consists of 7 lots, and it's located on 5 parcels, as decided by the Brown County Assessor. The plat will divide this half block of property into 2 lots. And one lot will contain the former building, and the other lot will contain the new building. The lot sizes, Lot 1 is 23,800 square feet. Lot 2 is 34,200 square feet. The new property line between these 2 lots is follows the existing retaining wall that's on the property, and then it transitions and meets the one of the drive-through gutter lines. There are no lot standards in the B4 zoning district. The preliminary plat for the property had 3 conditions. I might note that all of those conditions were addressed prior to consideration of the final plat by the Planning Commission. So at this point in time, there are no conditions for this plat. That would conclude the staff report.
Schnobrick. This is a public hearing also, so if anyone would care to be heard, you may come to the microphone.
Being nobody wants to speak, I'll motion to close the public hearing and offer a resolution approving the final plat of the Alliance Bank First Edition at 314 and 340 North Minnesota Street.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion carries. Item number 3.1 is a B&L Bar Alley Closure Liquor License Extension for a Baggin' in the Street event.
I'll offer the resolution to temporarily close the alley adjacent to the B&L Bar on Saturday, January 20th, 2024, beginning at 8 a.m. until 2 a.m. Sunday, January 21, 2024, for Baggin' in the Street event, and authorize the extension of the B&L Bar liquor license into the closed alley area on the requested dates and times and into North Minnesota Street between Center and First North Streets during the Beanbag event, subject to conditions.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion carries. Item number 4.1 is summary of business during board and commission meetings. Counselor Schultz, we'll start with you.
I'll let Madam Chair, the mayor, cover the EDA. That's, I think that's all there was. Kind of a quiet month.
Due to no agenda items, Heritage Preservation did not meet. Park and Rec did have a busy meeting, and 3 of those items will be down on your agenda further down. One is the Pro Music signage plan. One is the Turner Gymnastics lease agreement, and then you'll have donations coming up. That's it.
From the sister cities, the Hans Joos sign entrances, the city of New Ulm have been up on 2 of the locations. The third one will be going up when MnDOT gets that done. And then we're still looking for applicants until the end of the month for the 2024 to send to Germany. If anybody's interested, they can look onto the city's website and apply.
I have nothing new to report either.
Okay. I'm not on this commission, but I know the Charter Commission has met, so there may be some things coming down next year with that, but that's all I have.
Economic development, of course, we did the ribbon cutting at the new daycare facility, and that was a good experience to meet the 4 providers that are there, and I know we had some of our council people there and others from the EDA Commission present, and it was a good ribbon cutting. And besides that, it was a busy weekend. I was able to attend a Eagle Scout ceremony, like an induction ceremony for Joey Cotton. I don't know if any of you get the newspaper, but there was an article about that. And I have never attended one of those types of ceremonies, and I was just so touched by the ceremony, but also by the young man that received. I presented him with the City of New Ulm and from the City Council a commendation certificate. And I met this young man just very quickly. I didn't know who he was, but I attended Oak Hills, had a meeting with the legislatures this last year looking for additional funding for Oak Hills. As I was sitting in this audience, there was a young man sitting about where Les is that was so articulate. He was a young man, and I thought, wow, who is that? Then this young man, months later, walks into my office to invite me to this ceremony. And I said, I know you. I think I know you. He was so memorable, but I didn't know his name. And of course, it was this young man, Joey Cotton. So anyway, it was a great experience, and I was just so pleased to be a part of that ceremony.
Well, thank you. Good news. Moving on to 5.1, Fire Department Attendance Percentage Report. Chief, good evening.
President Betker and councilors, if you remember, back in May of 22, you approved a new policy and procedure manual for the New Ulm Fire Department, which included a new attendance policy and percentages. And we went through an 18-month trial period for everybody to, get their feet wet on this. And if you take a look at the numbers that you have in front of you there, I think the numbers will bear out that this is 45% and 65% are both doable, and I think we should consider them a permanent part of the policy starting January 1st.
Thank you, Chief.
Any concerns from staff, firefighters? No.
If you remember, we talked about this for a few years already, that a 2/3 vote in the fire department, was all on board with the percentages, so.
Yeah, and I haven't heard much quarreling about it either, so I'll make a motion to receive and order file the report from Chief Mako on fire department attendance percentages as the 18-month trial concludes.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? I do just have one question. So would we, or is it something that you would approve to actually put it into the procedure? Or, because we're not approving this to go into the procedure, we're just approving the report, or are we also approving adding this?
I think you're approving the report.
Right,
I think
yeah.
way back in May, we'd said we'd go through the 18-month period. If we needed to change something, we would.
Okay.
If not, it would stay the same and go into effect.
Okay.
It's currently already in the policy.
This is just okay, great. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, perfect. Those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item number 6.1, 2024 City of New Ulm Budget and Property Tax Levy.
Counselors, this is the final step in the budget process that started in May of this year. In September, you approved a levy increase of 5.78%. We have made some very minor changes between then and now, and we are at 5.74% for a levy increase. So I just need a resolution to approve that final levy amount for the year.
Thank you, Director Jorgensen.
I'll go ahead and offer the resolution adopting the final 2024 budget of the City of New Ulm totaling $27,024,081 with a total property tax levy of $9,947,731 and the City of New Ulm net property tax levy of $9,790,731.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz? Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion does carry. Under new business, we have lots of items this evening, starting with 7.1, an audit service request for proposals.
Counselors, as you've done in the past with different services, even though this is a professional service and we're not required to, we have put together the request for proposals. We received the last proposals in 2018, and Abdo did win the bid at that time. That year, we received 6 proposals. And then we did extend it one other year because we didn't get the proposals out in time last year. So they will be auditing the 2023 books, and then after that, we'll be looking either, to see which proposal comes in. The average audit costs about $57,000 a year. We've been with Abdo since 2005. And like I said, this is a professional service. We're not required to bid it, but it is something we do in order to keep those costs in check.
Perfect. As we should be doing with, yes, everything. Perfect.
I'll approve the request for proposal and authorize the finance director to distribute, accept, and review proposals to provide audit services to the City of New Ulm and affiliated organizations for a 5-year period, beginning with the audit of the Economic Development Authority audit of the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 7.2 is a transfer from American Rescue Plan funds from the general fund to the EDA.
I'll offer the resolution to transfer $83,109.83 from the General Fund 101 to Economic Development Authority Fund 260.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion carries. Item number 7.3, community events for 2024.
I'll offer a resolution designating the following as community events for the year 2024 to adhere to the provisions of MSA 340A.410, subdivision 10, which allows cities to have more than one temporary liquor license within a 30-day period. They include Bavarian Blast, Bachfest, Brown County Fair, Fasching, Hermanfest, MyFest, and Oktoberfest.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion does carry. Thank you. Item number 7.4, mileage reimbursement rate for 2024.
Counselors, this is an annual item. We're just bringing next year's mileage rate reimbursement up in par with the IRS's code, which they released last Thursday. So we would be going up 1.5 cents per mile to 67 cents per mile.
Thank you.
I'll receive notice that the city/PUC's mileage reimbursement rate is increasing to 67 cents per mile effective January 1, 2024, concurrent with the mileage rate set by the United States Internal Revenue Service.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 7.5 this evening, Minnesota Department of Public Safety, Office of Justice Programs Grant. Chief, good evening.
President Becker, members of the council, good evening. My name is Dave Borker, Chief of Police for the City of New Ulm. In front of you, there's a $300,000 grant that we received from State of Minnesota Public Safety Office of Justice, and it basically funds our drug task force. Where the reason that the city of New Ulm's involved with this is because we're the fiscal agent for the task force, and this is a two-year grant starting January 1st, 2024. It's something that we received. I mean, essentially, that's our primary funding for the program, and everything was approved. It has to go through this council because we're the fiscal agent.
Okay.
So if you have any questions on that,
No, I don't have any, and I'll go ahead and offer the resolution to accept the grant from Minnesota Department of Public Safety Office of Justice Programs in the amount of $300,000 for 2 years, starting January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2025, in support of violent crime enforcement teams, and authorize the city manager and police chief to sign the agreement on behalf of the city of New Ulm.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion carries. Item number 7.6 is to adopt the revisions to the City and PUC Personnel Policy Manual. Ms. Baumgarten.
All right, thank you, President Becker and councilors. So there were several changes to the personnel policy due to the 2023 legislative changes. I'll just note some of the larger changes. There was an expanded definition of race to include hair texture and hairstyles such as braids, locks, and twists included in the policy manual. Statute changes for nursing mothers, lactating employees, and pregnancy accommodations. We are going to allow employees now to use sick and vacation time during their probationary period as sick time. Because of the new ESST or Earned Sick and Safe Time law, they're allowed to use it right away. And then vacation and sick leave can be used now in quarter-hour increments, also due to the new ESST law. Personally, policy for part-time employees, that is now going to include that earned sick and safe time that were required. The personal leave will be combined with the earned sick and safe time. And then the new earned sick and safe time policy for full-time employees, and then also volunteer firefighters. So currently, employees accrue 8 hours per month. What will happen is their first 48 hours will be put into their ESST bank, and then the next 48 hours will be put in their regular sick leave bank, so they're not going to accrue any more sick time. A lot of work on that and changes and working with the attorney, so we got that finalized. Otherwise, just a lot of word cleanup throughout the manual. I didn't know if anybody had any questions on anything.
I know when I looked at it, that's what I saw, was a lot of word cleanup, other than a few that you mentioned there, so. I didn't have any comments. Mr. Scott, you're good with everything?
I didn't work specifically with him, but one of his attorneys, so.
Our office definitely was involved and reviewed, and I have every confidence that this is consistent with the law changes from last session.
With that, I'll go ahead and offer a motion to approve the revisions to the City PUC Personnel Policy Manual, which will be effective on January 1st, 2024.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Item number 7.7 is general wage adjustment for non-unionized city employees. Again.
Yes, so we are looking at a 2.75% general wage increase effective January 1st for all non-unionized full-time and part-time. This is the same that LELS, AFSCME, and all PUC employees are getting for 2024.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve a general wage adjustment for all non-unionized full-time and part-time city employees of 2.75% effective January 1, 2024.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Thank you. Item number 7.8, ordinance number 2023-TBD, first consideration, building code and permits, section 11.30. Chief, hello.
President Betker and councilors, This ordinance was put into place way back in 2010. So we've been working on getting things updated. Since then, we've done some clarifications to make sure that there's a distinction between short-term and long-term rentals, and who actually needs to clarify who the renter and who the landlord is. So if you have any questions, staff has worked with the city attorney on this we started with our previous city attorney, and we've gotten this finished up to where we have it now. So, are there any questions?
I've got no questions. I mean, Mr. Scott, are you okay with everything on this?
Yes, council members, we have worked closely with the fire department and city staff on these changes. We're comfortable with all of them.
With that, I'll conduct the first consideration of ordinance number 2023- amending Chapter 11 of the City Code, the City of New Ulm, relative to building codes and permits, Section 11.3.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 7.9, MOU with the New Ulm Baseball Association.
Council President, councilors, before you have a request to do a memorandum of understanding with the New Ulm Baseball Association and the city for repayment of the observation deck at Johnson Park. This came about because we built an observation deck for the Minnesota State Baseball Tournament, and unfortunately, because of COVID, that tournament didn't happen, which eliminated the revenue they would have generated to pay back that deck. So NUBA has submitted a proposal to pay $10,000 over the next 5 years and asked to have the remainder of the balance forgiven. And then we would draft, if you are okay with this arrangement, we would ask the city attorney to draft a memorandum of understanding to begin that payment process.
I think we've had a couple good discussions, work sessions on this topic, and everybody seemed to be in agreement to move forward on this. So I'm just going to go ahead and offer a motion to authorize the city manager and finance director to sign a memorandum of understanding with the New Ulm Baseball Association for repayment of the observation deck at Johnson Park as prepared by our city attorney.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 7.10, it's the Turner Gymnastics Academy lease agreement renewal. At this time, as the executive director of Turner Hall and involved with the TGA program, I am going to step out, turn the meeting over to Councilor Vice President Schultz, and we'll return after the vote and discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So again, this item is Turner Gymnastics Academy lease agreement renewal. Mr. Schugel.
Thank you, Councilor Schultz and City Council. As you know, our current lease expires at the end of the year here. What is included in your council packet is some minor changes to the lease that we had intact for almost 2 full years leading up to the end of the year. One thing you'll notice is a rent amount decrease, and really that came from almost 2 years of history. So city staff pulled utilities and all costs on how to operate that building the first time around. This was a new facility. Now we have some hard data that showed us that what the real cost of operating that was. Another minor change to point out was how the concessions would be operated. Since this is a unique lease in our system where Turner Gymnastics Academy is the sole user of this facility, unlike any of our other facilities in our system. So them running concessions within that facility does not impact overall operation. There is a note in the lease there, though. However, if they have a big meet or something and wanted to use additional space, then they would be subject to the same thing our other user groups are subject to around concessions. Attorneys on our side as well as TGA have reviewed the lease. And this would renew, or this would be for 2 years again. So, any questions any of you may have?
So Joey, a number of groups looked at this and come up with the recommended amount, which is less than what we had before. So were we overcharging?
You know, it was kind of best guess. With a new facility, we didn't know exactly what utilities were going to cost. We didn't know how much of our staff time would be needed in this facility, and a lot of that. And we didn't know, you know, even though we could put some ideas on common area impacts with the facility, we really didn't know what the impacts would be. And now we have almost 2 years of history
Now we
there.
do know, so looking back, is that fair? I mean, is there, but I suppose maybe in the beginning there was a lot more work because it was so new.
Right.
Okay.
And as I stated, you know, unique arrangement that with.
Right. It is a unique thing, yeah.
Yes, and I think it was a best guess scenario at the time, and now this is reflected in kind of making that now appropriate.
Okay.
We do appreciate the amount of work you guys have done to figure that out. I mean, to iron out how much taking up a quadrant of your building costs has to be tough. So I appreciate you guys actually doing the work to figure out what an actual dollar amount is. So, I mean, that, it seems appropriate, it seems fair. I don't know if there's any other discussion.
Other kids? How many kids are involved? Do we know?
Very involved, yeah.
So I don't have the exact numbers. I know the program has grown since this is opened. And maybe someone's here who wants to speak on that.
Somebody here who knows.
Thank you, council members. My name is Matt Berger. I am the president of the New Ulm Turnverein. And anticipating this question, asked Courtney and Andrea to pull the numbers this morning. We run sessions during the school year and during the summer. We estimate that each session we have 250 to 300 kids. All of our classes are full. And our primary constraint is staffing, finding a number of qualified teachers to be able to teach the classes safely and effectively. During the summers, there's approximately 150 to 200 students that participate, and we estimate overall approximately 500 to 700 unique students. So some of them take multiple classes, and that's in addition to private parties, open gym users, and things like that that happen in the gym. That's just the classes.
Can you talk just briefly about tournaments too? I mean, how often they're held and what does that bring to town?
It really varies. So the Turner Gymnastics program hosts different meets for the youth competitive teams. That's a few times over the winter months. Really depends. Some of them are smaller meets, some larger teams. And then the high school subleases the space and hosts their meets there as well. So speaking as a father of one of the gymnasts on the high school team, it's been about a meet a week, some 2 a week. Roughly half of them are away, and that runs from December through February, thereabouts.
Other questions, comments? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion.
No, I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to sign the lease agreement with New Ulm Turnverein Incorporated, doing business as Turner Gymnastics Academy for the Gymnastics Center and the Rec Center, with a monthly rental amount of $3,945.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll wait for our
Grab
president
Andrea.
to come back.
Hi, thank you. Moving on to item number 7.11, ProMusica signage, ProMusica Minnesota signage plan.
Yes, thank you, Council Butker, City Council. As you may recall, ProMusica Minnesota presented this idea at a October work session. And since then, staff has met with ProMusica Minnesota to further develop a plan that would include signage in parks. This also was seen by our Park and Rec Commission at our December meeting and received approval there. So really a synopsis of this is this plan would provide signage in specified city park locations where park users would be able to access classical music for free that would kind of fit in with the theme or the park setting. And ProMusica would cover all costs associated with this signage, and has also indicated they would like to potentially see this go further than just city parks. So here tonight to answer any questions on the signage plan.
And they came to a work session too a couple months ago. Did a
Journal did
a nice job.
Journal had a nice article on it too this
Yeah,
last
yeah.
week, so it's out there.
No, I think it's be a great addition, so I'm going to offer the resolution authorizing Pro Musica Minnesota to implement signage in the City of New Ulm Park locations in late spring or early summer of 2024.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion carries. Item number 7.12, Park and Rec donations.
Yes, thank you, Council Betker, City Council, asking for acceptance of donations in the amount of $475, $400 to Jim Keene honoring Ralph and Carol Keene, and $75 from New Ulm Tennis Association honoring Eldon Eggstall along the youth tennis program.
I'll offer resolution to accept those donations.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Schugel. All right, item number 7.13, the donation of a 1969 Pierce aerial fire truck to the New Ulm Fire Department. And I just want to say, I learned about this at the Christmas party, and this is just really fantastic. So I'll turn it over to you, Chief. Go ahead.
President Betker and councilors, I'm kind of happy to inform you as well that the 1969 Persh that the New Ulm Fire Department of the City of New Ulm purchased in 1969 for $49,000 and served the City of New Ulm till 1992, till it was replaced by a 92 Seagraves. This truck, when it was replaced, we had it stored for a couple of years, and all it was doing was taking up space and collecting dust, and whoever wanted the space said it's got to go. So what we did is the fire department donated it to the Minneapolis Fire Museum at the time, and after a number of years, the Minneapolis Fire Museum kind of folded its tent, and everything, the contents kind of went in a bunch of different directions. And thank goodness Tim Smith rescued this from the backyard, took excellent care of it, and not only did he take good care of the truck, but all the paperwork that came with it. He had the service manuals, and he also had the original spec sheet that was check off at a final inspection. You can see how it was checked off as they went through each item. So I would like to thank Tim for donating that, to getting it back to us, Tim, because it means a lot to us now that we have a place to store it, and it will go along very well with the rest of our equipment. So thank you, Tim.
I also want to thank, I'm going to make the resolution as long as I can drive it again, Chief.
Well, we'd even let you climb the ladder if you wanted to.
I'll offer the resolution to accept the donation of a 1969 Persh aerial fire truck to the New Ulm Fire Department.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion?
I'd like to hear from Tim. Come on up.
I'd be curious as to how you kind of procured the truck and where you kept it for all these years,
Mayor and council members, I'm Tim Smith, my wife Sarah. We're from Waterville. We used to live up in the Minneapolis area. I work for the St. Louis Park Fire Department currently. We came across this truck. I'm a collector of old things. We both are, antiques. I belong to a group called the Minnesota Fire Engine Club. The former version of that, we had several members that were directors of the old fire museum. When the museum folded, some of the bigger items, the trucks, ended up in, I want to say in private hands, but they were basically storing them with the intention of bringing the museum back. It didn't happen. I was lucky enough to come across this in the backyard of one of our directors, and he needed to get rid of it. At the time, I basically paid him for a few parts that he had put into it, created a title for it through the state of Minnesota, which I have, the chief has it now. We took care of it for 17 odd years. I was absolutely tickled to find some of the members' names on the truck yet. So in no way, shape, or form would I have repainted or restored this truck. Every mark on there has a story behind it. So we've done our best to take good care of it. I happen to have a shed on my property big enough to store it inside. We've enjoyed it for many years. I haven't used it much lately, and it kills me to see it sitting with dust on it. So it was time for it to come home.
Wow.
Well, thank you.
Again, thank you.
That's just-
You're most welcome. There's no way I was going to do anything else with it, so. All right. Thank you for accepting the donation.
Absolutely, our pleasure. Thank
We're
you.
going to have a plaque to make sure Tim is recognized for this donation, I'm assuming?
I think
Proclamation.
there is a proclamation.
Yes. So I thought maybe we could complete the resolution, and then we would kind of 7.14B go into the mayor's proclamation as well. So we had a motion and a second. So Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes. Thank you so much. At this time, the Mayor Becker, does have a proclamation she would like to share.
Yes, in appreciation for the donation of the fire truck to the New Ulm Fire Department, we have a proclamation. Whereas the New Ulm Fire Department owned a 1969 Persh aerial fire truck, which served the fire department until it was replaced by a 1992 Seagraves fire truck. And whereas a few years later, the 1969 Persh aerial fire truck was donated to the Minneapolis Fire Museum and was on display until the museum closed. And whereas since approximately 2006, Tim Smith rescued the fire truck from under a tarp in a backyard and has taken care of that fire truck. And whereas several years ago, Tim Smith entered and drove the 1969 Persh aerial fire truck in the Bavarian Blast Parade. And whereas Tim and Sarah Smith contacted Fire Chief Paul Macau, inquiring if there was interest in returning the fire truck back to its home. And whereas the Smiths have graciously donated the 1969 Persh aerial fire truck back to the New Ulm Fire Department. Now, therefore, I, Kathleen L. Backer, Mayor of the City of New Ulm, Minnesota, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim the 19th day of December, 2023, to be the 1961 Persh aerial... 69, excuse me. Graduation. No, 1969 Persh aerial fire truck day in the city of New Ulm, urging citizens to join in recognizing the fire truck as a historical and memorable piece of equipment that was once owned and operated by the New Ulm Fire Department. In witness thereof, I have unto set my hand and cause the seal of the city of New Ulm, Minnesota, to be affixed this 19th day of December, 2023. Kathleen L. Backer, Mayor, City of New Ulm. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
And thank you so much for coming down tonight, too.
Yes, you may present.
Yeah, it means a lot.
As a council member in my own town,
Oh,
I understand.
yeah,
I appreciate that.
thank you.
Well, and I think it's something that, a firefighter could have only have done, Something special about that. Thank you, and thank you for coming down here today. Item number 7.14 is Police Department donations.
President Betker, member of the council, before you have a proposal or a resolution regarding a $500 donation from Helping Minnesota Heroes to support Shop with a Hero program. We had our program, we offered it this year, December 2nd, from 7 to 9 at Runnings. It was a very well-attended, community-supported event. And then this is really an ongoing funding opportunity. So this organization contacted us and asked, they said they wanted to provide a donation. We explained to them, we already had our event, but they still wanted to donate to the ongoing funding. We plan on continuing this next year and thereafter, just simply because we have a lot of community support for it. I think it's an important program.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
I'll offer the resolution to accept a monetary donation in the amount of $500 from Helping Minnesota Heroes to be used for the Support Shop with a Hero program.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion carries. Item number 7.15, donation to the Brown County Historical Society.
Council President, councilors, before you have a request to donate the city-owned Wanda Gog collection, Fred Johnson collection, 1 bell and 1 star from the Garland to the Brown County Historical Society. This request has come from the Brown County Historical Society, but looking at where the collection is currently stored in City Hall, it's in our best interest to get it to the Brown County Historical Society because they have the ability to, preserve the cultural heritage. They can preserve. They're equipped to preserve that artwork. They have the expertise and resources to ensure that the pieces are stored, handled, and displayed and maintained in a way that they keep their integrity. They will have public access and education. Because right now it sits in a filing cabinet and upstairs and no one can really see it. So it'll be able to be displayed and that public can access it. And again, with the museum, they have professional curation and display so they can, pull that artwork out and actually put together an exhibit and a display if they so choose. And then support. It's just showing support as from the city to the Brown County Historical Society to donate the items to them where they rightfully belong.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton.
There's so much history in those collections, and it's just great that we can get them out and get them seen by our community and those that visit here. So I'm going to offer the resolution, waive the reading. Hey, we don't have to say that anymore. Offer the resolution approving the donation of the Wanda Gog collection, Fred Johnson collection, 1 bell and 1 star from the city Garland to the Brown County Historical Society.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
President Becker?
Yes, that motion carries. At this time, we do have an addendum to the council agenda for this evening, so I would need a motion to suspend the rules for action on the addendum of item 1.1.
I'll offer that motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. That motion does carry. At this time, we have a council meeting agenda item of item number 1.1, a bed and breakfast license for Bingham Hall.
Well, I'll offer a motion to approve the issuance of the bed and breakfast license renewal for the period beginning January 1, 2024, ending December 31st, 2024 for Shannon and Todd McKeith, DBA Bingham Hall Bed and Breakfast, 500 South German Street, subject to compliance with all city requirements.
Second.
Thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. With no additional business this evening, tonight's meeting is adjourned. Thank you.